Govardhana Vallabha Girivardhari Govardhana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Brajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Radha Damodar ki, Shri Radha Girdhari ki, Shri Radha Madhava ki, Gaur Premanandi. Can you get the Bhagavatam, the 10th canto that he used to write the verse on, please? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sunday will be Govardhana Puja. This being no Govardhana, one class, even 2 classes, an evening class, it's not enough to stir the nectar for this wonderful festival, especially since we have Giriraj Maharaj here and Radha Giridhari here. Haribo! So I thought we could hear a little bit of nectar. This is the 10th canto. It is text number 13 of the 25th chapter. Krishna lifts Govardhana hill. Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga Tvannatam Gokulam Prabho Chatum Harasi Devana Kupitad Bhaktavatsala Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga Tvam Gokulam Prabho Tratum Harasi Devana Kupitad Bhaktavatsala.
Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga
Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga
Tvam Gokulam Prabho
Devana Kupitad Bhaktavatsala. Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga. Need all the mercy I can get. Thank you. Kupitad Bhaktavatsala. Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga. Tvam Natam Gokulam Prabho. Tatum Arsi Devana Kupitad Bhaktavatsala. Mata.
Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga
Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga, Tvannatam Gokulam Prabho, Tvartamarasi Devana, Kupitad Bhaktavatsala, Krishna Krishna, oh Krishna Krishna, Mahabhaga, oh all fortunate one, Tvatnatam, whose master is yourself, Gokulam, the community of cows, Prabho, O Lord, Tratamarasi, kindly protect, Devat, from the demigod Indra, Na, us, Kupitat, who's angry, Bhaktavatsala, O you who are very affectionate to your devotees. Translation. The cowherd men and women addressed the Lord. Krishna, Krishna, O most fortunate one, please deliver the cows from the wrath of Indra. O Lord, you are so affectionate to your devotees. Please save us also. Why not? The cowherd men and women address the Lord. Krishna, Krishna, O most fortunate one, please deliver the cows from the wrath of Indra. O Lord, you're so affectionate to your devotees. Please save us also. Purport. At the time of Lord Krishna's birth, Gargamuni had predicted, Anena sarva durgani yuyam anjastarishyata 10:8-16. Quote, by His grace, capital H, His grace, you will easily cross beyond all difficulties, close quote. The residents of Vrindavan were confident that in such a great emergency, Lord Sri Narayan would empower Krishna to protect them. They accepted Krishna as everything, and Krishna reciprocated their love. Now, truth be told, this was my second choice for a verse. I'm going to read the first choice, 26th chapter, text 25. This is wonderful Krishna. Deve varshati yagya viplava rishavra jashma varshani lai shridat pala pushastri atma sharanam drishvanukampya samayan utpatyaika karena shailam abalo lilo chalin Dramayata Bibrad Ghostam Apan Mahindra Madabit Priyan Indro Gavam. I don't think it would have fit on the board. Indra became angry when his sacrifice was disrupted. And thus he caused rain and hail to fall on Gokul, accompanied by lightning and powerful winds, all of which brought great suffering to the cowherds, animals, and women there. When Lord Krishna, who is by nature always compassionate, saw the condition of those who had only Him as their shelter, He smiled broadly and lifted Govardhana hill with one hand, just as a small child picks up a mushroom to play with it. In this way He protected the cowherd community. And here's the blessing. May He, Govinda, the Lord of the cows and the destroyer of Indra's false pride, be pleased with us. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shiyata Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakopatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki. So I thought I would take a different tact this morning. I've never followed this path or this line of thought in relationship to Govardhana Puja Katha. Not in a class anyway. And I thought I would spotlight King Indra. Do you mind giving me a Bhagavad Gita? Thank you. You know, in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked, who is the Lord of sacrifice? And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, well, actually there's two. Lord Vishnu and King Indra. They're both Lord of the sacrifice. Of course, Vishnu is the Supreme Lord. Thank you. And Indra is the king, supreme among all the administrative demigods. I know our tendency, because our tendency in thinking of Lord Indra, it's pretty easy to think of all of his slip-ups. Dare I use English vocabulary, his screw-ups. I mean, this one's it's pretty big. It's up there on the list. How about how he got his eyes? Boy, that's a real juicy one. That would make the internet, the rounds on the internet. He's king of heaven. I mean, we're kind of influenced by mechanistic conditioning and our upbringing and what have you. Rains come, rains go. Doesn't rain much here in San Diego, etc. But Indra is deputed by Krishna, by Vishnu, to regulate the rains. And generally, as Krishna says, what is it in the, which chapter is it? 2nd or 3rd? The verse before, that Krishna says that, you'll be happy if you worship the demigods. You offer sacrifice to the demigods. Do you know that one? Did he chant the right one? 3rd chapter, that's what I wanted. So become prosperous, be happy. Krishna doesn't begrudge us living entities, his sons and daughters, to be happy. It's kind of 10th class happiness down here in the material world, but if you're going to be here, then work with me. Worship the demigods. If you please them, they'll please you. You'll get the necessities, you'll become purified gradually, and hopefully you can come to me. And looking at it and so Indra, he does that. The demigods, they do that. The sunshine, it's so perfect in every respect. It's amazing the way the Lord has deputed it, and it runs seamlessly. Now, we might not think that in the age of Kali because, things are topsy-turvy. We've got no one to blame but ourselves. Not much yajna going on for the demigods or for the Supreme Lord. Truth be told. And I was thinking about it from their perspective. Satya, Treta, Dwapara, they probably get their fair share of yajnas. They like that. I don't know if it's simply the respect offered, but I think also the offerings are nourished like that. It's part of the perks of the jobs. Kali Yuga gets pretty lean. This is the time, okay, now we're doing some fasting here. So they got their austerities also. But still, they do the service. It's what they're supposed to do. Now, King Indra does it so nicely. I mean, he's mentioned in the Rig Veda a lot. Am I right, Ramapati, Prabhu? There's like glorification of Indra as the supreme. You're supposed to engage in yajna to Indra. In fact, Indra is simply another name for Krishna. As we heard yesterday, day before, all names are really names of Krishna. You just have to have the divine vision to see the connection. But Indra certainly, the king of kings, that's certainly our Lord. So anyway, we think about his mishaps often because he's had plenty of them. They're juicy. Everyone likes a good story of someone's difficulties. And, so he's a bit of a lusty fella. He's inappropriately approached and conquered more than one sage's wife. Gautama is the one that comes to mind. Gautama was out taking his bath or away from the ashram. Indra has the ability to take any form he wants. He looks just like Gautama. He comes in, sweet talks her, lays with her. And unfortunately for him, boom, 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 here comes Gautama. And he's caught. Gautama, a great sage, powerful, devotee. He curses Indra. You lusty rascal. You're so attached to the private parts of a woman? Hey, be covered with them. 1,000 private parts of a woman all over his body. Now, how do you explain that when you go back home? How utterly shameful. Oh, man. Can't imagine. Can't imagine. I've screwed up pretty royal at times and been embarrassed, but holy smoke. So he falls at the feet of Gautama and he prays, please, please, please forgive me. I'm a fool. I'm a lusty rascal. Forgive me. Please, please. Can you kind of lighten up the curse a little? Okay, may you have 1,000 eyes instead. And this is how he gets his body covered with eyes. Now that's pretty weird in and of itself. I mean, stop and think of it. It's not like, the painting where you draw. I can just remember the old movies in India. When I first went to India, I went to the little theater by Radha Gopinath a couple of times, and they had these, wow, special effects were really special. And these movies about Krishna and Vishnu and what have you. But they'd paint eyes on Indra or something. But these eyes actually work. Stop and think about it. I mean, the body is a miracle of a machine, and the eyes work. You can see through all of them. And the gopis think, well, that's pretty dang good. We have 2 eyes, and the stupid creator covers them with eyelids where we're blinking and losing the sight of Krishna all the time. Each blink seems like an eternity to him. But Indra, with his 1,000 eyes, just imagine the darshan he can take of the Lord. They think he's very fortunate. Indra, I try to research for classes. You certainly deserve that much, and the purification is wonderful. Prabhupada's books, Ki Jai. Kartik, we should be reading as much as we can. It's a good time this morning I was thinking of my godbrother, friend, and hero, Vaisheshika Prabhu. He'd usually be at Govardhana reading 5 hours a day, Srimad Bhagavatam. Anybody here ever spend 5 hours a day reading Bhagavatam? It's nectar. Total nectar. So, I was surprised how many times Indra is mentioned in the nectar devotion. Man, Rupa Goswami puts him in there all over the place. One quote in reference to this, his eyes, is Indra, he was praising Surya. Because by your effulgence, you can reach down and you can have the darshan of Krishna's lotus feet all day long, every day. All the time. And yet, even with my thousand eyes, I rarely get the darshan of his lotus feet. It's also stated in the Nectar devotion that, just appreciating the devotee that he is. Rupa Goswami says, those who are from the very beginning of their self-realization attached to devotional service are called Seva-nishta. Seva-nishta means simply attached to devotional service. The best examples of such devotees are Lord Shiva, King Indra, etc., etc. He's not, Bhakta Raman or what have you. This is an exalted devotee. And it's interesting, administratively we offer a lot of respect to those who take up responsibility, whether it be the administration of the universe or of this movement, country, state, etc. Respect is appropriately offered, or should be. And yet really, the real deal about offering respect, those who deserve it the most are those who are simply attached to Lord Krishna and his devotional service. As Satyavrata Muni prays repeatedly in the Damodar Astakam we sing every day, he only wants Krishna and Krishna's service. He only wants the total, unceasing memory of Krishna. He wants the ability to glorify the Lord, to worship the Lord. So this is a standard of devotion that Indra doesn't have. Don't get me wrong, his younger brother is God. Upa Indra. Although he's younger, Upa also means greater. He's above Indra, because he's God. But the Lord reciprocates with Indra in Swargaloka and Indraloka as his younger brother. Indra will feed him, will offer him substances, and the Lord accepts it as a younger brother would in true culture, gratefully and respectfully. So it's nice to hear some of the positive aspects of Indra before we get into the actual, oh man, did he really blow it in the pastime of Krishna lifting Govardhana hill. This Shivasya Shivishnayaya Gunamadisakaram Diyambinang Pashit Sadkalonamitakara. Second offense of the Lord is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, King Indra to be equal to or independent of the holy names of Lord Vishnu. Now, did you know that in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita that Sanatana Goswami also says another meaning of this verse is you should not be disrespectful of the demigods. It's kind of like Niyamagraha. You got to be careful of both extremes. Don't throw out the devotional activities or services and regulations, and don't simply do them mechanically, externally, sleepwalking through your day. So we offer respects to everyone, but certainly we offer respects to those we are dependent upon for life itself, for sustaining, the body, who are dear to the Lord, and make no bones about it. Indra is dear to the Lord. And we should appreciate that. So another way in which, the bigger you are, the old saying, the harder you fall. Well, the greater you are and the greater service you do or the more capacity you have, then also you have the ability to make bigger and bigger mistakes. Like we'll never be in a position where we would try or have any facility, even if we wanted to, at our lowest, most demoniac birth, be able to, let's keep it like, small-time Kali Yuga demons. We could never make a run at it like Indra did. Let me kill the coward men, women, cows. Utterly wipe Vrindavan off the map. Why? Because that talkative little boy thinks he's something special. He's talked them, and the father and the coward men, the elders, they should know better. What are they doing listening to him? Just see how these coward men living in the forest have become so greatly intoxicated by their prosperity. And I've already mentioned, well, what's part of their prosperity dependent upon? I give the rain for the grasses that feed their cows. They've surrendered to an ordinary human being, Krishna, and thus they've offended the gods. Now, that's kind of like sometimes we'll say something, but we'll say it in the plural about everybody else, but we're really showing who's offended here? Indra's offended. He's so offended, he's ready to kill him. Seems like a bit of an overreaction. But when you have that big a position, and you're getting that much praise and worship, everybody on the heavenly planet, they offer their respects to him. I said even the Lord takes the relationship of a younger brother to him. His spiritual master, now that's another thing, or if Narada Muni or great sages come, then he should have the wherewithal to realize, Hare Krishna, please set my humble obeisances. But we have the pastime where Brihaspati came into the royal assembly. Indra's on his throne. He's having the dancing girls and the singers and the music going on and everything. Boy, fanned by the chamaras and, Greek times the picture is, the grapes. But that's basically what we're talking about. Instead here we'd probably be offered pan or, he gets to drink soma juice. The nectar of immortality. And they say particularly Indra likes this beverage. Particularly he's fond of it. Brihaspati comes in. Indra's so absorbed he sees him, but doesn't even nod, drop his head, bow his head, fold his hands, nothing. What to speak of standing up or bowing down, touching his feet, none of that. Brihaspati sees this, oh, really? Where do you think you get your opulence? Where do you think you get the ability to rule heaven? It's by the blessings of the devotees of the Lord. It's by blessings of Guru. He turns around and walks out. And then when he walks out, Indra, the light turns on, oh my God, and he publicly tells everybody, what a fool I am. I've just offended my spiritual master. I have no standing without his mercy. And when he came, I'm so intoxicated by my position, by my opulence, that I didn't even offer respects to him as his servant, as his subordinate. I'm the biggest fool. I've got to run and catch him and beg for his forgiveness. Brihaspati didn't let him do it. And as a result, Indra caused not just him, but all the demigods to lose their home in the heavenly planet, defeated by the demons. They're homeless. So, as nice as the heavenly planets may sound, it's got glitches in it also. Sometimes they're homeless, wandering aimlessly, wondering what to do. Another time, Durvasa Muni came. And he had made a garland. Durvasa Muni, this is somebody who, gave a blessing to Radharani to always cook that which will extend or nourish one's life, to be able to cook in unlimited varieties of foodstuffs, etc. This is Durvasa Muni. Sometimes we also just think ninth canto, but this is an exalted partial expansion of Shiva. The incarnation of Shiva. He offered Indra a garland that he had made. And Indra accepted it, but then he took it off and put it on the tusk of his elephant, Airavata. Well, Airavata's an elephant. So he takes his trunk, he takes the garland and kind of pulls at it, it breaks, it scatters all over the floor, and then, the elephant steps all over the flowers of the garland that Durvasa Muni had offered. If we know anything about Durvasa Muni, we probably have an idea how he reacted. You low-class person. You don't deserve to have youthful bodies here in the heavenly planets indefinitely. I curse you to experience the effects of old age, gray hair and wrinkles. Somebody help me here! Who's the doctor of the heavenly planets? The Ashwini Kumars? Are they the doctors? Help me out here! Yeah, so they were experiencing the external symptoms of old age. I found that, wow. So then, it was, what was it? Here's how. So that's how Soma came around. He got the blessing of Soma from the nectar of the milk ocean, etc. Then the demigods could take it, and then no more wrinkles. There goes the $1 billion industry down the tubes. Something natural provided by the Lord, Soma juice. So anyway, Indra, he has stepped in the pookie many times. Many, many times. And here especially he blows it. Krishna talks his family and friends into not worshiping Indra. And of course he does it because he knows that Indra's puffed up. He's my devotee. I don't want my devotee puffed up. It's the last thing I want from my devotee or for my devotee. So he thinks, let me convince my family and friends, let's forget Indra. And I won't spend much time on, the conversation, but anything Krishna says, those who love him, by the time he's through speaking, they're convinced. Okay. And they do it. And then Indra becomes infuriated. I mean, it's amazing. And he calls the Samvartaka clouds, the clouds of universal destruction. In the Ananda, Vrindavan Champu by Kavi Karnapurna, it describes like these clouds, they like covered the entire universe. And Indra goes, no, it's not time for that yet, but I got a job for you. I want you to go to Vrindavan and decimate it. And and all the acharyas, they had their own particular realizations and their own descriptions of these things. In this particular Shastra that I just mentioned, they say they're ready to go. Krishna book and our spiritual master says, are you sure about this? Yeah, don't worry, I'm coming behind you on Airavata with my thunderbolt weapon, no worries. In this particular, they're ready. All right. Out of the house. We get to do our thing. So they go down there, and everyone is suffering piteously, like we heard in this verse. Please protect us. They only turn to Krishna for protection. Nothing else. No one else. They're devotees of Lord Narayan. But when push comes to shove, they're right there focused on Krishna, not Narayan. That's how pure their love is. So absorbing and complete their love is for him. And so he says, don't worry. He knows this is the work of Indra. And so he just picks up Govardhana like it's a toy. This verse that I read, it said in mushroom. It's like a ball. And his hand was like a bed for Giriraj, for Govardhana. And these clouds are doing their worst. And all we're talking about rain as big as the trunks of a mature banyan tree. One description is there. And hailstones. Oh man, I've seen baseball hailstones, but who can imagine the size of these hailstones? Universal destructive hailstones. And of course, I don't. Has anyone here been in a flood? I have. It's quite a terrifying experience. I watched my little trailer wash down the river. And, saved the books. They got soaked. Those particular books back then, boy, I kept Mahabharata and a few others, when you've been in the rain, totally soaked, and then out in the sun, how the pages all get funky. But anyway, enough of that. So they're terrified. You can't tell high or low land. The water's rising. And Krishna, no problem. Come under the hill. Come under the mountain. No, don't worry. It won't fall. We've just worshipped Govardhana. And look how easy he's making it. I can even lift him. Look, don't worry about it. I got this. It coincided with that quote I mentioned of, I think it was Sudam or Sudam, saying, Krishna didn't lift the hill. Govardhana. So it's a correlation. I guess he heard Krishna say that or had the same thoughts. They fully satisfied Giriraj, Govardhana. He manifested his gigantic form. Oh, wow, Krishna, Govardhana, they're the same. And he accepted all their offerings. Perfect. That's going to be Sunday, the anniversary of that worship of Govardhana. So anyway, Govardhana's, he's helping us. Look, come in the valley underneath the mountain. Bring all your possessions and all the cows, and they're so happy. And Indra, for those 7 days, it's like there's different aspects described. Sudarshan Chakra was over the Govardhana. There's that saying of that where it's dissipating the ferocity of the rain and hail and lightning bolts. And when lifted on the hand of Krishna, this mountain Govardhana pierced through those clouds. It was like shredding them. It's a glorification of Govardhana. And the animals on top of the mountain of Govardhana, like the lions, they mistook these dark, big clouds to be elephants. And they immediately started attacking them and shredding them with their claws. And then we have Garuda here. This is another nice little perspective. He saw what was going on. Indra's attacking and I suppose you would say Indra is a stepbrother, brother from another mother, same father, stepbrother, or half brother, I guess you say. So anyway, Indra is attacking my Lord, and he, in his love for Krishna, began profusely sweating. He's flapping his wings up there in the sky. He's just wanting to kill Indra. But he's thinking, no, I better not do that. My Lord won't be happy with me. But boy, does he want to. And so he's just breaking out. That's also from the Nectar Devotion. So anyway, for the 7 days, starting to realize that this isn't working, those 7 days for Indra turned into like 7 days of Brahma. It was torturous. For the Vrajvasis under the hill, 7 days and nights, no thirst, no hunger, no sleepiness, just fully absorbed and lovingly reciprocating with Krishna. Fully, ecstatically satisfied. Those 7 days and nights went like that. So anyway, Indra calls it off. He realized, oh God, I lost this one. That was stupid. I mean, what was I thinking? Oh my God, I've offended. He's not a talkative little boy. He's my Lord. Oh, what am I going to do? Oh my God, what have I done? So anyway, rains desist, the clouds come out, the waters go back, the rivers flow as they should. Did I say the mud dries and everything comes back lush and verdant? And Krishna says, hey, we can go out. It's all over with. They all go out, and that's the chapter of wonderful Krishna, expressing their gratitude and their praise for Krishna. But Indra, a few days later, he knows, oh my God, I got to try and make this right. Who knows what kind of reaction I'm going to get on this? Oh, he's going to punish me so bad. Oh my God. So he asks Brahma, what should I do? Brahma goes, I tell you what you do. Krishna is so attached to his cows. Go to Surabhi, a cow from a goat Loka here in this material world. Go ask Mataji, Surabhi, to go with you and let her speak on your behalf. And if you do this, I got a feeling you're going to be okay. So Indra, thinks, wow, thank you. That's a great idea. And he goes, he gets Surabhi, and they go and they approach Krishna. And Surabhi approaches Krishna and said, my Lord, do you see that very unhappy, how would you say, repentant person behind me? That's your servant Indra. And he's so sorry, and he wants to tell you himself he's really sorry. I hope you'll listen to him and accept his plea for forgiveness. So Indra approaches, and there's wonderful prayers in the 10th canto. Wonderful, wonderful prayers. I won't get into all of them, but he realizes, I was one of the demigods that prayed for you to descend to free the earth of the burden of all these demoniac kings and rulers. And yet, because I'm so puffed up, so attached to my opulence and my wealth and my position, to my sense gratification, I just completely lost it. Just so sunk in the ignorance of pride. And he prays to Krishna. I know you are my Lord now. I'm sorry, you're completely transcendental, your form, your activities. Your devotees are so very dear to you. You come to, sustain, to nourish, to protect your devotees, and the demons you annihilate. But it seems as if I'm not a devotee or a demon. I'm your servant, but boy, did I act demonically. I know I deserve great punishment, but please don't punish me so harshly. Please take it that simply the crushing of my pride by lifting Govardhana Hill and foiling my attempt to kill you and your devotees is sufficient. He said, among the foolish, I'm most foolish. And Krishna, he goes, you did this? I would have thought it was the clouds somehow or other were on their own and they came and tried. You sent them? You're my devotee? I've given you your service, your position, and still it was you, not just the clouds. How's that possible for my devotee to do that? Indra says, well, I became angry when you stopped the yajna. I can't believe it. Yes, I stopped the yajna, and we offered it to Govardhana, but my devotee would do such a thing? How's it possible? And Indra says, anything is possible for one who's falsely proud. And Krishna goes, but if pride arises in my devotee by their intelligence, their determination, they remove it. They work on it. They don't fall victim to it. And Indra goes, but intense anger destroys all of one's intelligence. I had no intelligence. I simply acted like the greatest of offender. But he was concerned. He didn't want to be punished severely, but at the same time he wanted to be forgiven. So we know the story. To make it short, they had an abhishek for Krishna. Krishna accepted the service. Mother Surabhi bathed him with milk. Indra's cow had water from the how do you say that? The Ganga in the heavenly planets, Alakananda Ganga, bathed Lord Krishna. We'll get more into that Sunday, but Krishna accepted it, and Indra's somewhat pacified, and Krishna gave him the good instruction: look, go back and do your service. Go back home. Take up the responsibility, but remain sober. Don't become proud. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes the point that Krishna didn't say, you have my blessings to be free from pride. And we know that not that long afterwards, some decades later in Krishna's Leela, Krishna recovered some stolen earrings of Aditi, Indra's mother, from a demon named Bhaumasura. And on the back of Garuda, riding with his wife Satyabhama, they went to the heavenly kingdom. And they returned the earrings to Indra and to Aditi. And they were so happy. Wow, thank you. He was such a demon. Thank you. Could have never gotten them back for my mother. It's all good, you know. And then Krishna had promised Satyabhama a parijata tree. Rukmini had one time been given a parijata flower by Narada Muni. The flower, the fragrance spread throughout the entire palace. I mean, oh, wow, she was so appreciative. Satyabhama, in her nature, thought, wow, I'd like one of those. No, I'd like a whole tree. No, it was Krishna. She said, can I get one of those too, Krishna? He said, why do you want just a flower? I'll give you a whole tree. So when they went to heaven, he uprooted the tree, put it on the back of Garuda. They start to fly off, and this devotee of Krishna who had just bowed down and prayed prayed in appreciation, in gratitude, you return the earrings. He thinks, that's my tree. That doesn't belong on the earth. That belongs here in heavenly planets. No, that's not right. And he actually begins to fight with Krishna. Krishna easily defeats him. And there's another wonderful pastime. Let's see if I can find it real quick. He was ashamed once he was defeated. Is this it? Anyway, and he expressed that, God, I'm such a fool. I'm so sorry. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had said that Krishna didn't bless him to be free from pride because then he wouldn't have been able to engage in the leela of stealing the parijata tree for Satyabhama. It was part of the flavor of the whole affair. Krishna is so cool. So anyway, Indra begs forgiveness from Krishna again, and everything's good. And now let's fast forward a little bit. Indra has become puffed up. He's become overwhelmed by his false ego and his pride twice now with the Lord. And I hear that he's going to incarnate in Kali Yuga in Navadvip. And he goes to Sarabi, who he's close to now, appreciative, close. And he goes, I'm so afraid I'm going to offend the Lord when he descends to Navadvip. What do I do? I got a problem. What do I do? He said, well, let's go to Navadvip and let's worship Nimai there. And so they go down to an island in Navadvip, which became named after this Sarabi cow, Go, and also a banyan tree that was there where she stays, Godruma Dweep, the island of Godruma. And they begin to worship Lord Chaitanya, chanting his names. And because the worship of Lord Chaitanya is very easy, the results, the fruits, the blessings of worshiping Lord Chaitanya are very easily achieved. And before you know it, they're crying with tears of ecstasy in their eyes and chanting the names of Lord Chaitanya. Gora, 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 Gora. Now, if this was Mayapur, by now we'd all be going, Gora, 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 Gora. Or always remembering and invoking the mercy of Jayapataka Swami, Gauranga! They're chanting Gora's names, and Lord Chaitanya appears. He gives them his darshan. He says, I know what you want. Don't worry. When I descend here in Navadvip, you will be allowed to come and serve me, and the net of Maya will no longer be able to catch you. There he got the blessing. There he got the mercy. And I'm going to read this last 2 paragraphs to end the class. In essence, what I've talked about, a title for the class, Indra, arogue, exclamation mark, question mark, a rascal, exclamation mark, question mark. Yes and no. He's an exalted devotee. Those who are Paramahamsas, they think of his position, the service, the opulence, the respect he gets. That's as significant to him as a little tiny insect. They have no attraction whatsoever. Prabodhananda Saraswati prays like that. As for posts or service or the position of heavenly kingdom, even ruling the universe in that way, no, have no attraction. It's like an insect's life. But we offer our respects to him, Sakama devotee that he is. He admits it. When Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, then his prayers included that, those who are really your devotees would simply be grateful and glorify you. And they would be like your son Prahlad, like Hiranyakashipu's son Prahlad, where he didn't care if he was being tortured or delivered. He was steady in his worship and remembrance and service of you. But us, we become greatly disturbed when our kingdoms are lost and we lose our facilities for enjoying life, for serving you, but we are attached. So he recognizes it, he expresses it to the Lord, with a little bit of regret, but not enough to push him beyond. I gotta grow out of this. So that's from his position. We can relate with it to some degree, maybe. And the other part of it is apichet siddharachara, that even if one appears to fall down in the most heinous way, don't write them off. That you should understand they're devotees. As long as they're engaging in devotional service, and even if it looks like they're stopping devotional service, leave devotional service, don't write them off. Indra's the perfect example. He got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. How rare is that? That's what we want. In the next verse it says, quickly they become righteous. Isn't it? In the 9th chapter. And there was a discussion between Yamaraj and different sages and what have you. There in his court, we heard Yamaraj praised, the Mahajan. But they were discussing this. How does a pure devotee who slips up then become righteous? Doesn't make sense, because righteous is part and parcel of dharma, religiosity. Pure devotees already are way beyond the material aspect of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So it seems like a step down. What's that about? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this incredible purport where he says, no, that verse isn't referring to the devotee who had the difficulty. It's referring to the person who criticized the devotee because of their difficulty. If that devotee will continue to serve, then they will become free of the fault-finding tendency. Something I have to bang into my head repeatedly. I have to hear and repeat to come up to that point. Something I want to do. So this is the last two paragraphs of the class. Sarabhi also delivered Markandeya at the same place. Won't explain any of the details of that, but she preaches to him, and in a sense she's preaching to us. So he asked, please tell me how to get free from this misery. Sarabhi then instructed him, worship the 2 lotus feet of Gauranga. This Navadvip is beyond material nature, therefore never destroyed. By material vision, this place is 16 kroshas, but it is the supreme Vaikuntha, and therefore without fault or illusion. Place and time here have nothing to do with material existence, nor is anyone here affected by material illusion. Just see the unprecedented wonders of Navadvip, which is surrounded on all sides by the chaste Viraja river. Each part measures 1 billion kroshas, and in the center is Mayapur, a vast city. The 8 islands are like the petals of a lotus with Antardvip as a central stamen. All the tirthas, demigods, and rishis reside here, worshipping Gauranga. For your own good, my dear Markandeya, take shelter, my dear Prabhus, take shelter of Gauranga's feet, take shelter of unmotivated dharma by keeping far away from the desire for bhukti and mukti. By taking shelter, 2nd paragraph, in the worship of Gauranga you will attain the sweet fruit of love of God. When that prema sits in your heart, it will drown you in the nectar of the artful pastimes of the Lord. You will get the shelter of Radha's lotus feet and Braj, and your mind will be fixed in the service of the divine couple. The happiness of this service is unmatched, while in the non-differentiated Brahman there's only illusory knowledge. The Muni, hearing the words of Sarabi, folded his hands and said, "If I worship Gauranga, what will be my destiny?" Sarabi answered with the essence of Siddhanta, "In worshipping Gauranga, there's no consideration. When you call out the name of Gaura, your sinful reactions are destroyed, and you're freed from all distress as your material life is vanquished. Besides sinful reactions, even the fruits of mental speculation, which are only trouble, will be cut at the root. Therefore you should stay on this island and submerge yourself in Gauranga Rasa while worshipping the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare." Any questions or additions or comments? Thank you, Thomas. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Finally, you share with us, Dharmaraj.
I'm just wondering who Indra is in Chaitanya Leela.
I've looked it up before, and I don't think I found it, so possibly he retained his identity as Indra. Doesn't mean he did just because I didn't see it, but I want you to do your homework. Go to, what's it called, Prabhu? Govardhana Dipika. I didn't have time to research it because that question came to my mind also, but memory serves me that I had looked that up previously and didn't see Indra's name. So, but that's homework. It's a question mark. Sincere devotees surely have a moment to look up, because it's online. Google it. Govardhana Dipika. ISKCON Desire Tree has it also. Okay. Sorry, I can't answer that more definitively. Thank you for your association, your attention, and for being you. Srila Prabhupada ki, Govardhana Puja ki, King Indra ki, Gaur Premanandi.
It comes in many ways, somehow or other.